Salutare, oameni buni! Suntem la un alt episod de RDW Talks în cadrul Romanian Design Week, iar astăzi invitații noștri sunt Yuko Shimizu și Mariei Surducan, două ilustratoare extraordinare care au acceptat să vină să fie alături de noi. Au fost curator în secțiune de graphic design, iar eu abia aștept să pun întrebările și să aflu și eu care este punctul lor de vedere. Hi, how are you? I'm going to talk in English because you're here and yes. That would actually be pretty crazy. We talk in Romanian and you don't understand anything. So we're going to switch to English. First of all, I want to thank you for being here, for accepting our invitation. I want to thank you for being a curator at Romanian Design Week, to doing this job. And I'm really curious. And Yuko, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
I'm really curious. How did you find the Romanian Design Week as an event, as the project you saw there? Were you expecting it this way, or is it a surprise?
It was, I was expecting something spectacular, but it was really spectacular. So, I was expecting it, but it was also a surprise. The venue is really nice because right before we started recording, we were talking about the architecture as how it is now in Bucharest, and it's like a perfect combination of old beauty falling apart and some getting fixed. And the venue is, I think it was a restaurant before, but yes. It's perfectly falling apart. But then they put this like curtains and sets to make the interiors like some parts really nice and brand new and clean and like spectacular, and then some parts left how the walls are falling apart, windows are not there. The balance really feels exciting and there's a lot of energy. Like it conveys the history and future, and that's what the Design Week is all about. So I think it's really, really nice. As
you said, you just reminded me that this is actually the message that not only Bucharest, Romania is transmitting from the post-communism till now. Some parts of the cities are brand new, colorful. Some parts are gray. Some parts are distracted. But this event actually captured exactly the image, what Romania can say. We can be so designed. We can have our story. We can have our past, and we're just rebuilding it towards a really fast future. Maria, I'm gonna ask you. Actually the same question, because the thing was that Yuko has never been here, and you have been here, you have seen, Romania, you live in Romania, you know all the culture and the progress in Romania, and I'm curious, how did you find this edition of Romanian Design Week?
For me it was very interesting. It's the first time I'm attending the opening, and it's a completely different experience from seeing just the exhibition. But also, for me, Romanian Design Week is a really important moment of connection with the artist community. And the first time I took part in Romanian Design Week was 10 years ago. So I've seen the community grow. And I've seen a growth also, let's say, a maturity in the way we approach projects, in the way we assume our own identity, and also in the way we assume our European identity, because like it or not, we are part of the European trends. The trends exist and they influence us. The question is, what's your personal answer to those trends? And I think that was quite visible in the exhibit. I like seeing the authentic voices come through.
Yeah.
And it's also nice to see what a whole generation does and how things are translated in product design, in illustration, in graphic design, and how all of these sort of come together and intersect. Because at some point you're not sure what's pure illustration, or if pure illustration even exists, what's pure graphic design and what's pure product design or fashion design. And because there's a lot of intersection, and I find it a very rich experience.
Yeah, because you said that you were at the exhibition 10 years ago. You see, I think Romanian Design Week has been about connecting not only the creative community, but the creative community to the rest of the community. How do you see this progress? Is it happening more?
I think it's happening more, and I think it's not just a connection, it's a dialogue. And I think that's where the value lies. We're not seeing artists and creative people as objects in a museum.
Yeah.
You realize you can interact with them, and you realize they're part of a conversation on values, on aesthetics, on the way we represent identity, and on the way of what this identity means.
Yeah, it is getting there, and I'm feeling that this event actually is doing a really great job in being one of the main events in the town, not only for the creative community. And actually, you said it really well. It's not making only a connection, and it's making a dialogue, which is really constructive, because only through dialogue we can actually use each other's abilities, and that's fantastic. Yuko, you saw the projects you curated? Yeah, I hate this word. Yeah,
Curated? You don't like the word?
No, I don't
Curated?
like it because I was actually talking to Stella before. This is, some people cannot say some words, and this word is a big challenge for me. But anyways, I've been saying this in each episode. So, how did you find the projects?
So if curated is not the right word, I was thinking of like winners. I kept saying like the winners of
That's the problem. There is no, actually, you said it perfectly. You started a perfect subject, because one of the most beautiful things for me in Romanian Design Week is that you win something, but it's not about competition.
Right.
And I love it. And I was talking to Andrei once about this subject, that I think he should absolutely maintain it this way, because the fact that you are in the exposition, it's a real win for you as an artistic entity, company, whatever. But still, not being about a prize, not being about the first place, you go there to connect with your colleagues from the creative community, and this is absolutely perfect, and I love it. So that's the thing. You cannot be a judge here, because nobody is actually winning. You are a creator. And how did you create the project?
It's funny, like, for me, curating seems like there's my opinion involved. Of course, like, we're choosing what to be in the show. So yes, there is our decision involved, but it's not like, curator, like, for me, the word curate seems like it has an agenda. We have an agenda, certain agenda, and like, oh, this is the theme, so it doesn't fit the theme, but it's not that way. We're showing illustrators' works and which ones best represent to be in this exhibit, and there's no other agenda. Well, if there's any other agenda, it's about now, but it's also about the future, also about the history, right? The venue says it all. And where's the Romanian illustration heading, and what exciting things young people are doing. So even, I think some of the, I don't know the artists, but I think some of the artists who were chosen to be in might be still students. And maybe there are some, there were some who are like thriving international illustrators, and there are students or like, younger, newer illustrator just graduated or graduating. And of course they're in a different level, but we see like potential of, what exciting things they're doing and what kind of potentiality, especially for the young ones, have for the future. So we wanted the diverse work from diverse level of artists, and that best represent now and the future, and as a whole thing, as a whole body of work, very exciting. And that's the only thing. So like, there's no personal agenda involved in curating the show.
That's fantastic. And I'm gonna ask Maria, because she can be subjective on this discussion, on this subject. Do you see, Maria, any common sense in a specific thing which connects the graphic design projects from Romanian artists in Romanian Design Week? Do you see something which makes them to have to be from the same place, a connection, something common?
You mean like a common, let's say, Romanian identity, but not necessarily
something which not really Romanian, but
yeah, like your roots are in here.
You come from the same place.
That's a very interesting question, because I don't think we can talk about a homogeneous group or something that unites everyone. But what I can see and I can trace, it's like, I would almost call them childhood influences. And sometimes you see fairy tales creeping in, and sometimes you see computer games creeping in. And you can sort of, or at least I like to imagine that you can see the moment when a child encountered the magic of images. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, for example, in Sorina Vazelina's work, and she was not in the illustration category, she is in graphic design, but her work has this 8-pixel influence, and I remember the 90s and the early computer games. And then you see stuff like Sados, for example, who takes... I don't know if the influential is intentional, but there's a strong traditional art influence there from glass icons, but also from the works. I see connections with the work of Donestan, who was an illustrator before the revolution. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about identity and we can talk about authenticity, but I would hesitate to say everything comes from there. Everything is filtered through personal experience. And it's very hard for me as someone from here, like a fish can't really describe water. Yeah. So I think this is a question perhaps better suited for Yuko. But also we live in a very connected world. We all have the internet, and most of us work for international clients, and most of us have international inspiration boards on Pinterest. Yeah. So the influences are really mixed, but I think in each of the works, I can see something that comes from childhood and from an identity that was formed there.
Yuko, how international are the projects you saw? I mean, from that point of view.
So we did a talk yesterday, and like we kind of touched on the like. I sometimes mentor, like I come abroad meaning I live in New York, so, anywhere outside of New York or USA, and then meet young illustrators, they really want to make it, and then, I want to work for US market, and then like, yeah, your work is great, like, let me, help you within whatever I can, but then sometimes they start overthinking and start changing their work to what they think fit into US market. Yeah. And I have to often like stop. Like, I like your work because me coming from United States, I see your work and it's very fresh. Way you draw, way you paint, or even when you use colors, because lights are different, colors are different everywhere. So, Romania or Italy or Montenegro, their colors are different, their way of influences are different, and thus the outcomes are different. But sometimes I find, often find illustrators outside of US trying to get into the market and force themselves to change and sort of recreate the childhood they didn't have. And then it is not authentic anymore. And why I love your work is because your work is authentic, and I can see your childhood influences that you don't see as yourself creeping in, and I see that because I come from outside, and that's beautiful. So I think, like Maria said, if you're from here, you often don't realize that. I think it's beautiful. I go somewhere, like, Romania or anywhere, and body of work is so diverse, but there is freshness that I see as someone coming from outside, and I really want each artist and here or elsewhere to really embrace that beauty and be confident. So I think the Romanian Design Week, like, I think it's fantastic because we don't have United States Design Week. Well, they might be, but US is not a singular identity because like it's so much of mishmash of everything, and it's refreshing to see that I'm from Romania. You know, there's a lot of future. It's an interesting, exciting place, and we want to show it, and then show that and show their childhood influences or how they grew up, because everyone is different because of our upbringing or experiences. And when that shows, it's exciting to viewers, no matter we know that experience or not.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you actually got me to the point to jump on the next question about your career, your fantastic road actually, to where you've been everywhere, on the top scenes, on the magazines, on the covers and everything. And of course, for everybody, that's a curiosity, that how do you get there? That what's the road toward that success? Because the fact that you say that this teen illustrators, they force themselves to change and go to this American style so that they can fit, is because maybe they're kind of rushing to get somewhere. And from the position of someone there already, what do you see? What do you see?
I'm there.
No, you are a lot there. What's your advice? How can not necessarily a teen artist, how can an artist to make its way to the top?
So I don't know, like every day is a struggle for me, no matter how long it does. But you know, like I'm fortunate to be able to make a living making art, and that's what I love to do more than anything else. So like I think I'm very fortunate. I don't know if I'm successful, because success is like it's a term, it's like kind of icky for me. Like your curation is a hard word for you to say. Because, you know, maybe from outside point of view, like I might be successful, but what is success, right? Like everyone's definition is different. But it was really nice when
Let's say experience for.
Okay, like so 20 years of experience. I just one at a time. And when I first moved to United States, to New York to attend art school, I really hated what I did. And what I did was I grew up with comics and anime, and that's how a lot of Japanese kids start drawing. So I see my work and like, oh God, I don't want to be a comic artist, or I don't want to be an animator. I want to be an illustrator, but my work looks like anime and manga. How can I change this? So I'm going to go to the art school in the United States and learn everything about how American artists create art, and I'm gonna be one. And that was like seriously my goal. So that's why I understand when young artists try to change, because I did that. But I was very fortunate enough to have professors who are like, okay, you can learn how to paint oil painting or, you know, draw figure drawing with rendering. But at the end of the day, you have to do what you naturally do, because that's you. And that took 4 years of art school. But basically I got out of art school with all these education and basically went back to where I was. Yeah. But it's not like full circle, because it's like your skills getting better, your mind is getting better.
You know what to do,
Yeah, so like it's spiral, but it looks like, you know, if I started here, I'm here.
Yeah.
But basically they kind of look the way better version of what I did before art school. And when I finally gave in, and that's okay because I can't change who I am. You know, my upbringing was in Japan, and my influences come from all the popular culture and art, and I can't change that, and that's okay. So after that, things got easier. So I think the first step is don't force to change it, but look at what is within you and then try to bring it out in the best way possible with the education you can get. If you're still in school or if you're still early in your career, you can still get better, but what is the most important is you are you and you're nobody else. It's kind of cheesy, but it is.
And that's the thing which makes a change in the whole equation, because if nowadays everybody can kind of go in the same style or learn something to do something in a certain way. But I think that especially if we're talking about graphics, your own language, your own thing, it's the thing which is making a difference in the whole equation, and that should be probably kept a lot, because thank you very much. Maria, back to you. I like this trio here. I just change the guest and go to from country and culture to another country and culture. Maria, you've done a great job with the actually one of the greatest jobs I think that you have been doing is to interpret this fairy tales, the folklore. How do you say folklore in English, actually?
I think the scientific term is belief narratives.
Belief narratives. That's the job is getting harder and harder.
Yeah, I did not know that term.
Okay, so you have been really doing a really good job redoing these belief narratives. Yeah. In Romania it's easy, you call it folklore, and that's
but we use folklore in English too.
Yes.
Okay, folklore. Okay, and my curiosity is that what do you think that folklore can bring in the evolution of contemporary, like in the nowadays?
The really interesting thing about folklore, and the reason it's called belief narratives, is that originally they were a way of healing through storytelling.
Yes.
The English term is fairy tale, the Romanian term is basme. This is an old Slavic word which means lies. But it's not lies in the sense of fake news, it's lies in the sense of healing through interpreting the world through a magical lens.
And over-imagination, let's say?
The over-imagination is a tool, because what the fairy tale does, it assures you that the order will be maintained, and that it's a very simple way to say good will triumph. But what it means is winter will end, summer will come, we're not going to starve, we're not going to die. That's like if you strip everything away, this is the message of the fairy tale. And in pre-Christian times, fairy tales were used for religious practice, and it's even a belief of shepherds, for example, that if you say 3 fairy tales, that means you're in a sacred protected area.
Wow.
So they really had a ritual component. They were relegated to children literature relatively late during the 19th century, but also even as adults, I think we see this intrinsic value of the therapeutical value. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very interesting to try and make that shine through contemporary art, and to try to find a language which is actual. Because some of the motifs, for example, are outdated. The whole story of the prince who wakes the princess with a kiss is the story of the sun waking up nature. But it doesn't do well in an urban setting, in an urban contemporary settings. So the magic of fairy tales is that they continue change through constant retelling. And we sort of lost a bit of their power when we wrote them down, because that froze them in time.
It's amazing what you're saying, honestly, it's amazing. It is right. Everybody telling a story, everybody's going to bring something to the story, and the story eventually is going to change.
And the audience influences the storyteller, because the storyteller and the audience work together. That's how authentic fairy tales work. So this is what I'm trying to do, and I hope with each project I'm getting better and perhaps bolder, and trying to do the exact thing fairy tales were doing since the beginning of time.
Wow. I was expecting actually the more that was fantastic, because it is, now that I'm listening to it, it is exactly happening like that. I don't want to run away from the effect of the story and illustration and the growth and evolution of kids, because mostly one of the first things the kids have contact in their life is the storybooks, the illustrations and everything. And I'm really curious how from both of you, how can these books for kids impact the growth and the evolution of the kid? What's the input in it?
So I do a lot. Well, I don't do a lot of kids books. I think I'm on the third or fourth one now. Only 2 are being published. The third one's coming out this fall, and this summer I'll be working on the fourth one. I tend to be, like maybe you don't see that from my work, but I'm more of a serious, nerdy research kind of person. So I like to do bio books. And of course, because of my background and how I draw, I don't know what my drawing looks like because it's me. Like you don't know what Romanian art looks like because you're part of it. But my work looks Japanese, so I tend to get Japanese or Asian themes. But I wanted to diversify my work, and the last book that got published was I was very thankful because I didn't write it, and the publisher thought I was a right match. Is about a ambulance driver staying in Aleppo and saving cats, and that becomes a cat and animal sanctuary. That's the story. So I wanted to do something outside of my common, like comfort zone. And what's great is, well, there's like a book ban and things in the United States, and it's very alarming and very scary because kids don't born racist, right? Kids don't born with any kind of prejudice whatsoever. And I get to draw stories for kids about the country and the people and religion. Most of the American kids are not, like they're not surrounded by that. They don't know where Aleppo is. They don't know where Syria is. Maybe they don't know what the war is. But there is a person who wants to care for cats, and that's the same feeling as every kid have. Yeah. And then so without preaching, because preaching never works for kids or adult. And fairy tales tell these important stories and can be coded within these like magical stories. But also like it can be a serious bio book about war-torn Syria. But there are cats, I like cats, I will read it. Or mom will pick up, my son, daughter likes cat, like let me pick up the book. And then the kid, if the kid likes the book, the kid grow up forever, have sweet feelings about Syria, its people, like this religion and the place that they never know about, right? And I'm sorry, I'm just using my book as an example, but I think it's great because without preaching, they learn things that adults should be learning. But it's easier for kids to naturally go into learning and diversify and broaden their view about the world, about the thinking, and not have prejudice over anything. So for me, working on something is very, very important.
You see, as a parent of 2 kids, we mostly think that the books, the beneficiaries for the kids' books are kids, because it's a book for kids, yeah. But until certain age, the parents are the ones who choose the book, and the parents are the ones who read the book with their own own interpretation. The story, they read it. So I think that these books for kids are really huge impact actually on parents, and I think that everybody writing and drawing books for kids had to kind of push some messages for the parents too, because me, honestly, reading some books for my kids, I had that aha moments for many times. I was like, okay, I did not know that. Okay, I did not care about that. So I can't let just my kids be smarter than me. I need to get there. I need to Google that thing. I need to know that thing. And so are we honestly drawing and writing these books for the kids, or are we doing it for their parents too?
We're obviously doing it for the parents too, but the thing is, children are smaller and they have less experience, but they are human beings. And it's very important to treat children with respect and not to try to like give them moral or like force a belief on them, because children are intelligent and they're sort of gonna go, you're trying to make me do something. But it's important. Storytelling is what makes us human. And it's important through storytelling to like open a window and ask questions. And the answers will come naturally, because I think humans are naturally empathic and they are naturally kind. And this is what makes us human and what makes us function as a society. So it's just planting the seeds and giving valuable stories. Like the story has to be interesting. That's like you're asking someone to give you their attention. It has to be worth their while and worth their time. But also stories are a great medium to like speak about the world and help children navigate the world and navigate their own emotions, and not only children but adults as well. Is what I've tried to do in my work for children. For example, in Norse Holiday, the comic book I wrote with my sister. But I also, this year, I was a member of the Carturino jury. It was the first time we had the literature award for kids literature. And it was a joy to discover the way in which literature for kids has evolved in Romania in the last 10 years.
Yes, it is.
So it's a really diverse offer right now. And we have better and better writers, and writers that have the courage to approach difficult subjects and approach it not from a dramatic standpoint, but to say, this is the world and how we navigate this and how we choose kindness. And yeah, I think it's amazing. And this has been happening in the last 10 years. Because before that, I think we had a feeling that children need to be taught and a book is valuable if it teaches an important skill.
Mathematics or something, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not bad to have that, but there is a world to be discovered if we engage in serious conversations with children through children literature.
And I think things are getting really, they're changing a lot, and we kind of need to manage them, because when I was a kid, I was watching the Japanese animes and everything. And of course, I'm from Iran.
There's a lot of Japanese anime in Iran?
Of course, yeah, because
I don't know. I want to go there, but I haven't
no
been there.
Europe, no United States. You just go that way, you know. And there was, they made a taste in my whole childhood. Which right now with the whole this cartoons, movies for kids, the whole industry and YouTube and everything, I don't think that they really have that rare tastes anymore, you know, because everything is that. I mean, they kind of go in another world, you know, in the YouTube, and they just have everything in front of them, and that kind of seems really normal for them, because we had some hours, you know, when you know that from 2 to 3 there are gonna be these cartoons, and I'm gonna watch this. So it was so kind of, and we wanted to get everything inside and not forget. But I think the language is changing and the methods are changing. So this storytelling, the classic way of illustrating has to remain there, to have this moment for, you know, for the parents to or only for the kids at night before they sleep, to just watch the story, read the story, and have that you know, special feeling which remains with you forever, not just Hannah Montana, just the whole experience. It is difficult, I know, for you guys to answer, but I have to do this. I kind of feel to do this, because this is the moment we are changing the curator to the personal thing and personal agenda, as you said. Your favorite project from Romanian Design Week, your favorite project from Romanian Design Week, and maybe why is it perfect?
So, I'm sorry, I don't know all the names of the
Not the
artists.
names, the image you have on your mind when you think about the projects you saw.
So, like, first of all, we really love everything we've chosen. Two of my favorites are pushing the illustration to another level. So it's not just, you know, like illustration for books, illustration for magazine. Those are great. But there is a carpet and a rug.
Yeah.
And that's kind of mind-blowing. And I really wanted to see the carpet. Like, oh my God, like I can't wait to see the carpet. But we weren't sure if we'll be in the show. And then we went to the opening. Yes, the carpet is there. And then Maria, I think you know the illustrator. Of course I don't. And then I was like, wow, so the illustrator illustrated this and someone made into the carpet. It's amazing. And like, no, this artist is known to make tactile things. So this artist must have made this carpet. Is like incredible because, you know, illustration since photography came on, like about 100 years ago, it's kind of like, you know, like in our industry, we've been saying illustration is dead for like 100 years now, and it's still not dead, and I don't think it will die.
It can't be, it's a language.
Yeah, it's a language, but you know, it has a lot smaller role since the photography came, because everything that can be done in photos are photos, and then the rest of it is still illustration. So it's a smaller industry, but you know, like we as people who are working in illustration sort of have responsibility, like can't force it to us or them, but like to make the world get excited so they want to work with illustrators more. And when the art is transferred into rugs or, you know, shaggy carpet, and that's like, what potential clients can go and envision like, oh, we always thought like we can only use illustrators for our corporate catalogs, but there's so much more. And that helps those artists, but also helps the whole industry, because there will be chance for others to be able to do something like that.
Yes. Thank you very much, Yuko. Maria, your project?
Oh, there are several projects I really, really liked. There's two that come to mind, and they're from, let's say, different fields of illustration. One is the cereal box illustrated by Alina Bohoru.
Yeah.
And it was like a joy to see those illustrations. They work as a product design, but they also work as illustrations. I would like to have them framed. And it was also funny because Yuko said, I know this brand and I know the illustrations. And we were wondering who made the illustrations.
Because I eat them sometimes, yes. And all the illustrators were getting excited when it first came out, because they did a big campaign. So like, you know, we get Insta ad, and a lot of us ordered it, and then it was good. And like, I ordered some for my friends, and then like, yay, illustration, like cool illustration, not those like catalogs that we know for 50 years, but fresh, new, modern illustration cereal box. Who did this?
Nice.
And the second project that comes to mind is from I think a second-year-old student, Mariei Surducan, and it's like a notebook with sketches. And I really like that because that's illustration as a form of self-expression and like journaling maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not a commercial project, but both projects are really valuable and sort of showcase the versatility of illustration.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that's the beauty of the whole selection of illustration in the frame of a Romanian Design Week. You really see what illustration can do. And you really see that illustration isn't just a small box, it's really a spectrum. And yeah, there are a lot of possibilities, and they're being utilized really well. We have really good illustrators.
So Maria and I were talking while we were looking at the show. There were incredible illustrations in some other categories too. So like our hope is like, because like it's not like clear cut, right? There is a gray zone. Is this product design or is it illustration? Is it illustration or, you know, advertising? And some were in different categories, and well, like we wish we saw these in illustration category too, because there is overlap in everything. And moving forward, you know, our wish is, I don't know how the application process went, but I think the artists choose the category to apply.
Yes.
And you apply to one category, but you know, the carpet could have been product design as well. Yeah. And then there was a product design. There was the pillows cushions with embroidered illustrations, and I thought that was amazing. And there was more than a few posters, all books that, they were in specific design category, but they would have worked extremely well as illustration category. So if they can apply to multiple categories, because we want to see, I mean, it's not going to be us who will be jurying the next year, but next juries can't see the diversity of where illustrations can take the outside of what we commonly think as illustration, especially with like social media. Like there's so much of sameness that we're bombarded by, and then I really worry about ourselves, but like most of kids, especially you have kids, and there's sameness, and if you see a lot of sameness, it feels like that is something they need to do, or that is the norm, and anything outside is not good. Or you watch Disney films and think the fairy tales all ends happy ending, and no suffering of humans, right? Like there's like always a human suffering, and then how to overcome, and like all these things are kind of like washed away into the sameness. So like we really want to see and feature more of what's exciting, what can be done, what crosses over, and what can we show to the younger artists in the next generations. Does it make sense?
It does, and it's absolutely fantastic. And especially I always try to get some advice from our guests for making Romanian Design Week even better. And thank you very much for your input. Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you very much, Yuko. It was a great discussion. I'm just leaving here with a lot of things I got to learn from you. And good luck, and come back, Yuko.
Hopefully,
you got a home here.
I really love being here, and it's a beautiful city with amazingly friendly people. I already have a restaurant that I get welcome back when.
Where?
It's the Bacania Veche.
Oh yeah. Well.
Because Maria arrived the day after, so I went to have dinner by myself, and I asked Google, and they said like there was a nice garden, the food is good, and it seemed like a nice place to go as a single, one person. And then the wait staff was so helpful, and they were like, come back again. So I took Maria back, and like, we're back.
So we are looking forward to have you back in Romanian Design Week too. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and enjoy the trip here, yeah?
Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you very much.
Iată, gata, am mai avut încă un episod în care pe mine unul m-a umplut de energie și de experiență și tot felul de lucruri pe care le-am învățat, așa că și dacă și vouă v-a plăcut, dați acolo un share, comentariu, like-uri, dați la neamuri, la toată lumea să afle cât mai multe povești, să ducem lumea, comunitatea creativă cât mai mult înspre toată lumea. Mulțumesc și ne vedem pe data viitoare!